Hey, what is up, mortals? It is GrogFunky here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 11 of What If Deku Was a Dragon Slayer. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying, sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. And so, we begin. After a short break, the one-on-one tournament began. All of the participants readied themselves to go all out. All of them knew that at this stage, no one would hold back. President Mike got the crowd hyped up for the first match. It is finally here, ladies and gentlemen. The one-on-one match will now begin. The first match will feature two heavy hitters from Class 1A. As the DJ hero said that, the contestants entered the ring to loud cheers. In this corner, we have the stoic ice user, Shoto Todoroki. Going against him, we have the wielder of the blazing fists and feet, Izuku Midoriya. As Midoriya entered the ring, two massive pillars of fire shot into the air from the ring corners. Midoriya took a deep breath and consumed the fire. The intelligent teen knew that he would need all the power he could get to face off against Todoroki. Midoriya knew he could not count on Todoroki using his fire. The bicolored teen was adamant about winning with only his ice. Another thing worrying Midoriya was the look in the opponent's eyes. While he did not know Todoroki that well, the empathetic teen could tell that Todoroki was seething with rage and hatred. The green teen knew he needed to be ready for anything. Before the match, Todoroki had an exchange with his father, the flame hero Endeavor. While the exchange had been short, it was enough to make the youth's blood run as hot as magma. It was in this state that he entered the match. Midnight told the two boys she would be monitoring the match. She would call the contest if someone was knocked out of the ring or if they became unable to move. With that information, she told the two boys to fight fair. Midnight raised her hand in the air. Match 1, begin! With those words, Todoroki unleashed a giant wave of ice. An icy wall exploded from the bicolored teen's right side. Before anyone knew it, a giant glacial body was quickly enveloping the ring and stadium. This wave of frozen fury would have finished off most fighters, but Midoriya was not most fighters. The Dragon Slayer had no time to think of an intelligent counterattack, so he just reacted out of instinct. Midoriya summoned all of the fire energy he could muster into his mouth. A magic circle appeared in front of him. He then released all of his power in the largest fire dragon's roar to counter his opponent's attack. The waves of fire and ice clashed in the middle of the ring. This caused a fog of smoke and ice vapor that enveloped the whole stadium. Up in the announcer's box, President Mike could not believe his eyes. Talk about starting the final round off with a bang! Two giant waves of elemental opponents clashed right in front of our eyes. I don't know what Titania is teaching her students, but this is insane! Back in the ring, the smoke and vapor cleared to reveal the state of the fighters. Todoroki's right side was covered in frost. The steely-eyed boy's body was visibly shaking. Midoriya stood on the opponent's side of the ring in the same place. The giant attack had not made him move an inch. The flaming teen had incinerated his shirt and the bottom half of his pants legs. The Grenette was also sweating profusely. As Midoriya caught his breath, he got an angry look on his face. What the hell, Todoroki? If I hadn't countered that move, the whole stadium would have been encased in ice. Despite the fact that Todoroki was shaking, he kept his voice level as he responded. I am sorry, Midoriya. I was just angry. Such a stupid reply made Midoriya even more pissed. You were angry? That is your explanation? Midoriya took a minute to calm down and pull himself out of a Natsu-like fit. Well, look at you. You're shivering. Use your fire to heat you up. I told you before. I refuse to use that bastard's quirk. I will win with only my mother's quirk. Midoriya's fury was now out of control. He focused his remaining magic energy into his forehead. He charged his opponent and hit him with a fiery headbutt. This caused his opponent to go flying out of the ring. This action shocked everyone in the audience. Normally, Todoroki would have been able to dodge this attack, but the cold that permeated the teen's body had slowed down his reaction time. Midnight yelled at the top of her lungs, This match is over! The winner is Izuku Midoriya! Midoriya may have won, but he was not satisfied. He walked over to where Todoroki laid. The sweaty teen bent down and looked Todoroki in the eye. Midoriya then spoke in a cold and steely tone. Do you know why you lost this match, Todoroki? The ice-covered teen did not respond. Not going to answer. Fine. I will tell you. It is because you were holding back. It is obvious that the downside of your ice power is that it drops your body temperature the more you use it. If you had used your flames like I asked, then you could have offset that weakness. Of course you would have had to run the risk of me being able to energize myself by eating your fire, but you would have stood a better chance. I told you, Midoriya. I will not give my bastard father the satisfaction of seeing me use his quirk. Midoriya grabbed the collar of Todoroki's gym uniform and hauled him up to eye level. Would you stop it with that? Your father had nothing to do with this fight. That is your quirk, not his. You decide how to use it. The inflamed teen sat his classmate back down. Midoriya then turned and walked away. The green teen went to the locker room to get a new uniform. Waiting at the entrance to the changing room was Natsu Dragneel. In a shocked tone, Midoriya asked, Master, what are you doing here? I just came to congratulate you on a job well done. Most fighters would have been taken out by an attack like that, but you responded without hesitation. Also, you won. Good job. The pink-haired man gave the team a thumbs up and a huge smile. The pink-haired man then reached into his pocket and tossed a round object to Midoriya. Midoriya caught the object nervously. Thank you for the compliment, Master. It means a lot. But what is this glass orb you gave me? That is what it looked like. The sphere was about the size of a softball. It appeared to be made of glass. In the center of the orb was a swirling mass of red, orange, and yellow. That is a fire la crema. It is a crystallized fire energy. You just have to eat it like you would normal fire. After an attack like that, you have to be running on empty, am I right? Midoriya sighed in exhaustion. You're right. The green teen did as his master instructed. Midoriya ate the crystal like an apple. As soon as the glassy substance hit his tongue, it turned back into fire energy. This replenished his magic power. Wow! You were right, Master. I feel ready for my next fight. Good. Now get changed. Lucy, Urza, and your mother would kill me if I let you walk around just like that. With that, Midoriya went to get changed. The second match pitted Tenya Ida against the mad support corps student Mei Hatsume. Ida won the match after being turned into a commercial for Hatsume's support items. The third match had Uraraka facing Mina Ashido. Both girls fought their hardest, but Mina ended up coming out on top. This was thanks to the girls' physical conditioning. Up next was Fumikage Tokoyami versus Toguro Kamakiri. The slash-happy Kamakiri put up a powerful assault on the raven-headed teen. Even with this powerful offense, the shadow-wielded edgelord won the match. Next, Momo Yaoyorozu was matched against Asuka Kendo. The intelligent Momo thought hard on how to beat her opponent, but Kendo just unleashed a swift barrage of punches against the vice rep of 1A. This ended with Kendo advancing to the next round. The sixth match was an all-out fistfight between Kirishima and Tetsu. The match went on for a while, both boys taking in turn to beat the snot out of each other. The fight ended in a draw. After the two had recovered a little, the match was decided by an arm wrestling match. Kirishima came out victorious, and moved on to the second round. The next to last match pitted Kaminari against Shiazaki. Both the bolt-haired wizard and the vines-headed member of the Class 1B entered the ring to a roar of applause. Kaminari looked the botanical-haired girl over. Hey, you're pretty cute. What say we go out after this? The electric teen then gave Shiazaki what he thought was a winning smile. But this action did not get the reaction he was looking for. Shiazaki placed both of her hands in a prayer motion. She then spoke in a very concerned tone. Such a wickedness in the midst of conflict. Midnight brought the teens back to reality. The dark-haired woman cracked her whip. Let the match begin! Kaminari started the match off by unleashing a powerful blast of lightning at the vines. All of this electric energy lit up the ring with a bright yellow glow. The shocking teen figured there was no way that the cute brunette was still standing after such a big attack. But it turned out Shiazaki would not be taken out by just one attack. The religious girl's vine hair had formed a shield to protect her from the electric wave. Shiazaki followed this block up by sending her vines beneath the ring. These vines then grabbed Kaminari from behind. The clever girl then replied, As a virtuous guardian, it is my duty to punish wickedness in all forms. The righteous girl figured Kaminari was immobilized by her vines, but she was wrong. Shiazaki was surprised when Kaminari appeared in front of her and hit her with a shocking punch. With that one hit, the girl was floral locks passed out cold. Midnight threw her hand in the air. Ibara Shiazaki has passed out. The winner of this match is Denki Kaminari. The crowd broke out in a riot of applause. Kaminari hammered it up for the audience. Lox's dryer watched this student acting like such a goofball. He knew he would have to knock some sense into his student. While the other matches had been exciting, the final match was one that everyone was wondering about. This match had Katsuki Bakugo facing off against Wendy Marvel. The diminutive air user and the bombastic youth stood facing each other in the ring. Wendy had a determined look on her face, but to say that she was a little nervous on the inside would be the understatement of the year. Bakugo, though, stood with a wickedly gleeful look in his eyes. While he would have preferred to face off against Midoriya, the blue-haired girl would just have to do. Even though she didn't look like much, Bakugo had learned his lesson about misjudging people from facing Midoriya in the training match. Even though his body had healed from that match, his ego would be forever scarred. The bomb-handed teen would not lose again by underestimating his opponent. He knew that this small girl before him had not gotten here by accident. Midnight snapped her whip and called for the match to begin. Wendy unleashed a powerful Sky Dragon's roar, sending a powerful twister toward her opponent. Bakugo dodged the attack by maneuvering through the air using his explosions. The blonde closed the distance between him and his opponent and delivered a powerful explosion against Wendy. This threw the small girl back, and she landed close to the ring edge. This told the Dragon Slayer that Bakugo would not pull his punches. Wendy knew that if Bakugo was taking this seriously, then she would have to bring everything she had to win. She also knew that she would not land any hits with her established moves. The petite girl would have to use her new moves. She had not planned on using these new moves yet. Her plan had been to use them later, hopefully against Midoriya in the final round. But now, there was no time to hold back. Wendy focused her magic power through her whole body. A whirlwind formed around the girl and lifted her off the ground. She then used the wind enveloped to zip through the air like a dart. Bakugo watched his class rep taking to the air and smiled. "Not bad, pigtails. Now let's get this fight started for real!" Wendy and Bakugo flew through the air at one another. Wendy focused her magic into her hands. Tornadoes formed around her wrists. The small girl drew her arm back and struck Bakugo in the gut with a powerful blow. When she hit her opponents, the girl yelled at the top of her lungs, "Sky Dragon's Claw!" This attack hit the explosive youth like a truck. Bakugo fell to the ground with the wind knocked out of him. Wendy landed a short distance from the blonde bomb. The blonde quickly got to his feet. After a coughing fit and getting his second wind, Bakugo smiled at his opponent. "Damn, pigtails! You're a tough one." "So are you, Bakugo." "I see what Izuku sees in you." Wendy got a slight blush on her cheeks. I don't know what you mean." "Don't you, though?" Wendy became even more flustered, her whole face turning a dark vermilion. The brunette started to freak out, all of the complicated feelings she had for the freckled-faced youth surging through her mind. The Dragon Slayer became so distracted with her thoughts that she did not notice Bakugo close the distance between them. The determined boy unleashed this stun gun attack to blind Wendy. Bakugo then followed up with a powerful explosion that sent the brunette flying backwards. The match would have been called if the girl had not regained her senses at the last minute. Wendy whipped up a whirlwind around her body. The tint tornado allowed her to hover a few inches from the boundary line. Both teens flew at each other and exchanged blows. Wendy unleashed powerful Sky Dragon moves and Bakugo used his explosions to great effect. As the combat increased in intensity, it became obvious to everyone watching that Wendy was getting the short end. While the young girl fought with all of her heart, she was no match for the blistering barrage of Bakugo. Both teens landed in the middle of the ring. Both stood their ground for a minute. The fierce standoff ended when Wendy fell to the ring floor unconscious. Midnight declared that Bakugo was the winner. Wendy was then taken to Recovery Girl and Bakugo made his way to the class box. Present Mike ended the match by saying that they would be taking a brief intermission to repair the ring and to let the next combatants pair for the second round of matches. Up in the stands, Midoriya and Class 1A were impressed by the fierce combat they just saw. All of them knew that Bakugo was probably going to win, but none expected Wendy to put up such a powerful offensive. Mina Ashido was the first to express her awe. "That was amazing! I knew Wendy was powerful, but wow! Our class rep is awesome!" Midoriya agreed with Ashido's submission, but he still had a worried look on his face. "You're right, Ashido, but I have a feeling that Wendy will probably be really hard on herself for losing that match." "Why would she? I mean, it sucks that she lost, but she was facing Bakugo. The fact that she was able to fight evenly with him for so long is a victory in itself." Midoriya got up from his seat and headed for the clinic to check on Wendy. As he made it to the doorway, the green teen was joined by Uraraka and Asui. Before we get back to the video, I'd like to talk to you about our new channel, Celestia. Our channel dedicated to all things Dungeons & Dragons. Currently, we have a series breaking down the different spells in D&D, and soon we'll be starting some new series as well. So if you're a fan of D&D, or you have an interest in learning about it, check it out. Additionally, if there is something that you've always wanted to see get made into a video, head over there and leave a comment mentioning it. Meanwhile, Wendy was recovering in the clinic, and a knock came at the door. It was Lucy Hartfilia. The blonde woman had come to check on her student. She was surprised to find the girl with pigtails crying. "What is the matter, Wendy?" The small girl quickly wiped her tears away as best she could. "Oh, it's nothing, Master." "It doesn't sound like nothing. Tell me what is wrong, girl." The emotional girl started to cry again as she explained. It's just, I wanted to win so badly. I trained so hard, but still lost. Am I the class representative? But I did little to show how great our class is. I'm such a failure. Lucy walked over and embraced Wendy in a firm hug. There, Wendy. I understand that you wanted to win, but understand that sometimes there will be times that you lose. The important thing is to learn from your mistakes and use them to make you stronger. Really, Master? Yes, Wendy, but it is all right to be bummed. After a few minutes, Wendy managed to calm down. It was then that Lucy sprung a question on her. So, would part of the Tear Fest be that Bakugo distracted you by bringing up your feelings for Izuku? Wendy's face blushed and her body went stiff. No! What? How did you hear that anyway? Natsu was sitting next to me the whole time. He overheard it and wondered what it meant. Wendy's face got even more red after hearing that. Oh no! Now Midoriya's going to find out! This is horrible! And with that, Wendy started to cry again. Lucy quickly slapped Wendy across the face. The emotional girl recoiled from her master in shock. Calm down, would you? Izuku's not going to find out anything. I told Natsu that it was just a tactic that Bakugo was using to distract you. And he believed that? Of course he did. After all, Natsu is, well, Natsu. I guess you have a point. Suddenly, Wendy got worried again. You won't tell him, will you, Master Lucy? I won't, but you should. If you got that distracted by someone bringing it up, then it is probably not a good idea to keep your feelings hidden. Take it from someone who knows. Better to tell someone how you feel before they're gone. But that is your decision to make. Just think about it, okay? Wendy nodded to her master. Okay, Master, I will. As Lucy walked into the door, Midoriya entered the room with Uraraka and Asui. The girls confronted Wendy and Midoriya, encouraged her. The four then went to rejoin their classmates in the stadium. The second round got underway after the break. The first match had Midoriya facing off against Ida. While Tanya tried his best, he was no match for the flame-fisted Midoriya. Match 2 was Tokoyami versus Ashido. Thanks to the versatility and power of his quirk, the Dark Edgelord defeated the perky breakdancer. Next came Kendo versus Kirishima. The manly youth fought hard and used all of his durability to try and come out on top. But sadly, he failed this time and Kendo emerged victorious. The large-fisted girl was able to dish out more punishment than the rocky-skinned youth could take. Finally, Kaminari was pitted against Bakugo. The members of Class 1A knew that both of these boys were strong, but the outcome still shocked everyone. After a fierce battle, Kaminari got the upper hand using his lightning body magic to dodge out of the way of Bakugo's explosion. The electric teen was also used to the lightning attacks to wear down the opponent over the match. The result was that Kaminari moved on to the semi-final. A short break was taken to repair the ring again. Ursa was impressed by how well her students had performed in the tournament, but she could see where many of her students had fallen short. The first semi-final match had Midoriya facing Tokoyami. Both boys entered the ring and Midnight told them both to fight well. And with that, the fight was on. Tokoyami used Dark Shadow to attack Midoriya from a distance. The Edgelord tried with all of his might to knock the Dragon Slayer out of bounds. This attack pattern made it where the Flaming Teen was on the defensive for the first part of the match. As Midoriya dodged the shadowy swipes of Dark Shadow, he noticed that Tokoyami did not advance towards him. The intelligent youth could not think of any other reason other than these two for this to happen. The first was that Tokoyami was avoiding close combat because of an injury from the previous matches, but Midoriya figured this was unlikely. He had watched the matches previously and realized that Tokoyami had finished all of his matches quickly with little close combat. So that left only one option, the second one. Tokoyami was fighting at a distance on purpose. Midoriya had no way of knowing if this was the case, but he knew he would have to attack at some point. The green-haired youth lifted his hand into the air and lit it on fire and charged Dark Shadow. Midoriya leaped towards the bird-shaped shadow and hit it with a powerful Fire Dragon Iron Fist. The bright yellow-orange flames collided with the black mass with a powerful impact. This caused Dark Shadow to retreat before attacking again. Most people would not have noticed, but Midoriya did. Dark Shadow had gotten smaller and weaker after being hit with his fire. With this new information, Midoriya went on the offensive. Every strike he made against Dark Shadow made the fearsome creature shrink until it was little more than an actual shadow. When that had happened, Midoriya closed the distance between him and Tokoyami and pinned his opponent to the ring floor. Tokoyami spoke in an exhausted voice. How did you know about my weakness, Midoriya? The green teen then spoke as he held his flaming fist over Tokoyami. It was the way you were attacking me. In your other matches, you attacked with force and confidence. Your goal was to finish the match quickly, but your attacks against me were most desperate. Plus, your scent reeked of fear. I knew you wanted to avoid a drawn-out fight with me. After my first strike, I realized your Dark Shadow was weak by light. My fire was a bad match for you. You're right. I surrender. Tokoyami has surrendered. The first match of the semifinals goes to Izuku Midoriya. The crowd broke out in a riot of cheers. The next match was Kaminari versus Kendo, which was also a massive mismatch. Kendo fought with excellence. She delivered several powerful blows against the Lightning Team using her giant fists, but Kendo was unable to end the match. Kaminari hit the tough girl with a bolt of lightning that lit her up and lit the whole stadium up as well. Kendo hit the floor of the ring and passed out. Kaminari was declared the victor, and Kendo was sent to Recovery Girl. The crowd buzzed with intensity as the final match was Midoriya versus Kaminari, which was set to begin. Once the ring was repaired again, of course. The two wizards walked into the ring as President Mike gave them a righteous intro. Both boys were excited to test their strength against each other. Kaminari had a big smile on his face and gave Midoriya a thumbs up. The focused teen returned the gesture to the bolt-haired opponent. "This is the first time we have faced off." "Yeah, it is. Let's give it everything we got, Kaminari." The electric teen's normally goofy expression became very serious. "I had planned on doing just that." Kaminari's eyes suddenly started to glow bright yellow. Suddenly, the boy's insert teeth got longer and pointier. "I wouldn't normally use this power, but if I don't, then I have little chance of beating you. Plus, Master Loxus gave me permission to use it." Midoriya knew this type of magic coming off of Kaminari. This was Dragon Slayer magic. Now that he thought of it, Natsu had told him that Loxus had Dragon Slayer powers as well. The intelligent teen figured that this is where Kaminari learned his power from. While it was shocking, Midoriya knew that this was not going to be easy. He had been around the easygoing teen enough to know how strong he was. Kaminari did not get into the final round by accident. The ecstatic hero had suddenly defeated his opponents, even Kachan. So, the fiery teen would have to fight even harder in this match. Midoriya ignited his fists and charged his opponent with a determined glare in his eyes. Both Dragon Slayers clashed to the center of the ring. Both unleashed a flurry of fire and lightning-powered punches. Both then jumped back, unleashed a dragon's roar, which shot waves of fire and lightning clashed as the teens gave it everything they had. The audience was completely silent as they watched the two young men clash over clash for the win. Many of them could not believe how powerful the two were. Everyone knew that UA had produced powerful heroes like All Might and Endeavor, but the fact that the two first-year students in front of them were already this powerful was still impossible for them to believe. Back in the ring, the onslaught continued. The boys exchanged both physical blows and magical attacks, causing the ring and the surrounding grass to be scorched from all the fire and lightning attacks being tossed around. Both Midnight and Cementos knew that if this match did not end soon, the boys might do permanent damage to themselves. But, as it turned out, the two boys already knew that. Both boys broke off their attacks and jumped to opposing sides of the very damaged ring. The two were breathing heavily and looked like they might pass out at any moment. Midoriya spoke through deep nostrils. "You really didn't hold back, Kaminari." "Do you think I was going to?" "No, but it looks like you have used too much power, and you took too many of my attacks." "The same could be said for you. We're both on our last legs." "True. How about we finish this off with a bang?" "Sounds good to me." Both boys gathered all of the remaining magical power they had left. Both boys prepared their biggest attacks. Midoriya channeled his fire magic throughout his body. A fiery aura surrounded his body. Once at full power, he charged toward Kaminari and yelled at the top of his lungs, "Fire Dragon Sword Horn!" At the same time, Kaminari gathered the power in his hand into a lightning construct shaped like a three-pronged spearhead. The lightning teen then yelled, "Lightning Dragon Heavenward Halberd!" The focused teen then threw the attack at Midoriya. The halberd crashed into Midoriya and sent off so much lightning that the attack had damaged the fire user a lot. But he did not stop his charge. Midoriya impacted Kaminari with a super powerful headbutt. The electricity user was engulfed in flames. The exchange of such powerful attacks kicked up so much dust that it was unclear who had won. When the dust finally cleared, both boys were laying on the ring, unconscious. Midnight checked on the two boys. She then called up Nezu on her earpiece. She then gave her decision to the crowd. "This round is a double knockout. Normally, we would wait for these two to recover and then have a tiebreaker, but that would be very anticlimactic. Plus, these two boys will take some time to recover. With those two things in mind, we've decided to award first place to both Izuku Midoriya and Denki Kaminari." At that proclamation, the audience burst into righteous applause. Both Dragon Slayers were taken to Recovery Girl. The elderly hero found that both boys were worn out and beaten up, but they were otherwise okay. She ordered the best rest for both of them. Because of that, the two were not able to attend the medal ceremony. Meanwhile, two dark figures met in an abandoned warehouse. The first figure was a tall man with blades all over his body and a bandana over his eyes. The other man was a giant concealed by the darkness. The giant spoke in a gruff voice. "You have done well in your campaign. You have done well with the power I have given you. Continue with your good work." "I planned on it, master." Just then, a figure made of black and purple mist appeared in the warehouse. The bladed man attacked the figure with one of his long swords. Unfortunately, the blade could not pierce the mist man. "I'm sorry for intruding on you, gentlemen, but I think we have a lot to discuss." The man with the blades went to attack Kurokiri again, but the giant stopped him mid-attack. "Stand down, Stain. This man had the guts to enter my lair alone. I would like to hear what he has to say." Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that we the Celestials have many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so goodbye and have a divine day.